Thank you for joining Real Talk Thursday with Cherice and Clark Premier Group at Taylor Properties. I have the pleasure of introducing you to Kristin Lundy, a professional organizer with Klean the Kutter. Hi, Kristin.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So tell me a little bit about what a professional home organizer is and how you got in the business.
Absolutely. So a home organizer is someone who can come into your home and help you really go through your spaces and decide what you want to declutter, what you want to get rid of, organize. It's something that I would tell you at every stage of someone's life, someone really wants to go through a space and decide that they want to do something different with it. And so for me as a home organizer, my brand is really about wanting you to feel good about your space again. And the way you live and you feel in it really, and sometimes even work in it, really makes a big difference. And so as an organizer, I kind of come in and kind of help you with that whole entire process. I got into the business very randomly, actually. I used to be a learning specialist in college athletics for 12 years, where I was very used to coaching and teaching individuals and working one-on-one. And when I left that field due to health concerns, I really took some time to really figure out what I wanted to do. And one of my closest friends of 20 years found a link about organizing and sent it to me, and I thought, this is really random and crazy. And then I found myself being really intrigued by the whole idea about being an organizer. I'd always wanted to run my own business, and so I found myself just working towards what would this look like. And in 2017 I launched the business, and so I'm very happy with what I do, and I get a lot of joy out of going into individuals' homes and businesses and helping them.
Okay, and what's the benefit of hiring a home organizer?
There's several. It varies for different individuals, but for most, we can come in and really help develop a plan. And really what that means is touring the space, giving you ideas and suggestions. Emotional support is a big thing, because when we go and we decide we want to do this, bringing out all your stuff can be a little overwhelming. If you live in a home where you don't have a lot of space and everything's kind of like creeping up on you, you can get very, very overwhelmed really quickly. And so having that emotional support and a process and a plan really, really helps. And I think just starting that process and actually making sure you're doing it to the end. And I think a home organizer, a very good one, should help you be able to maintain. So teach you how to maintain and function in your space.
Oh, very good. So tell me, do you have any declutter tips?
Yes, if you were going to do this on your own, which some people are very quick to do so and a lot of people are not, I would say have a plan. So don't just go into a room and pull everything out of the closet. I would say work by zone, so keep it simple and work around a closet or a room by zone and section until you complete that space and then move on to something else. And another thing I think that is, really important is be okay to, one, it's an emotional process, so just know that you're going to kind of go through those process. But I tell people, stop when you find, before you kind of go over the cliff. Okay. Is the biggest thing on that end. I suggest for most people.
And what's the average time frame for a home organization project?
It really depends. I have some clients that come in and they really just want a bedroom and a closet done. I have a lot of clients that want whole homes. So they start with one room that really means a lot to them, or that would lessen their being overwhelmed or anxious. And then they kind of work through the home. And so it really kind of depends. Sometimes the clients, if they want to meet twice a week, they make more progress than someone that wants to meet every other week. It's really up to the individual and their schedule. But a lot of clients, it might take, a couple months, and that's totally fine if they're in no rush to be able to do the project. And sometimes pacing yourself really makes more sense, particularly if you've lived in the home for 20 years. It's not going to take 20 years to get it decluttered, but it's not something you're probably going to be able to get done in a couple weeks. So I just tell people to be open towards the project or the process, and I can give you projects that you can do in between sessions that can help you as well.
And how do you work with families?
So with families, it's really interesting. And so I can tailor who I work with based on if they want to work one-on-one, if collectively the whole family wants to do some things, if there's a space like an office and only one person uses, I can work individually with that person. And so we break down the home into all the different spaces, and I give a plan for each. And I like for families to be involved because you all function in the home. And so it's important for me to know in the family room who uses this and how you guys really want to use the space moving forward. And that helps me make better decisions with helping.
That would be pretty interesting in my household. You're going to work with our 4 and 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Very good. And so what tips do you have for people that have excessive numbers of certain items, like comforters or...
So we all have something that we are collectors of, and for some people it's just, we just never went through the process of decluttering it. A lot of times it's something that is passed down to us, or things that we just collect and we really feel connected with. And so I tell people, for the things that have excessive amount of stuff, be okay to know that the memory's not going to go away just because the items are not there. And then be realistic about the space you have in your home, because if you do not have a lot of space, then having a lot of comforters really might not make sense. And so I really try to help those individuals make decisions to pare those down. A lot of it is just looking at everything you have, being okay with parting with it, and just knowing that donation is a really good and big part of what I do, and letting someone know that someone else can use something that you're not using anymore. So it doesn't mean that it's trash or you're throwing it away and the dumpster's going to come, but that it can be gifted to someone else that really needs it.
Okay. And what are your tips for busy moms?
So for busy moms, I would say have your systems in place and be okay that what you have been using isn't working anymore. I mean, everyone knows that that's kind of how it is. I'm a new mom of 6 months, and everything that I was doing before he was born is very different now. And so I tell people, take some time to figure out what's the best way that you're doing your children's laundry, what's the best way that you're, you're cleaning up or helping your kids clean up, and try to keep it as simple as possible for yourself. And don't be so rigid in that I have to do it at this time every single day. Just be okay with you have a system and you have a plan. And so for busy moms, I think the more that you can get other individuals, so your partner or your kids involved, it does help. As everyone knows their role, it really helps you as well.
And are there stylish ways to store their toys, and how to manage, when you have multiple kids in one room, sharing a space? I
love the idea of using the traditional toy canvas bins for kids' rooms or a playroom, in a space that everyone's using, like a living room or a family room. An ottoman that has inside storage is really big, or canvas bins that you can kind of put in corners that you might be able to store some of the smaller toys, I think are really unique ways to kind of have the furniture flow with your space, but then also just be functional as well. For individuals that have kids that are sharing rooms, I think it's important to either segment out your room with this dresser goes to one child, this dresser goes to another, but if space is an issue, separating out the drawers and labeling, certain drawers for those individual kids. And then in your closet, really important for you to kind of figure out, are you using all the vertical space? So sometimes putting things above for seasonal things you don't use, so shoes or other, so say we're about to go into spring, so as you're going into spring, the winter stuff, putting that stuff away or moving it to another location. And then having, markers in your closet so that your kids know where their stuff is as well. And I think getting them involved in that process helps, because they can help maintain it as well.
Oh, very good. And so what are the best places to get like trendy storage organization type items?
Absolutely. I love Home Goods for a lot of organizational and storage options. I think they're really cost effective. They do have, nowadays at a really good Home Goods, they have very nice furniture. I don't always think they're as cost effective as maybe some other places, but I think for storage and organizational, they're great. Target is really one of those places now that I think has blown up just because they have such a large home section now, so you can find some things in there. Wayfair online tends to be a place that I know a lot of people have been able to purchase items and fast shipping, and if there's any issues you can return them back, and I heard their customer service is amazing as well. So I do have some clients that use those, and IKEA is still a staple of places where people can go and get some help. Their customer service is great. The only thing is you have to go to that location to actually get it, because the shipping is really high. But I would say that's a place where you can really interchange out some of your bigger furniture pieces if you want to do so in a cost-effective way.
And I think for many people, it's like the entire house, they look at it and they think this whole house needs to be organized. Where do they start?
I say start in the room that either you spend the most time in. So most of the time that's a kitchen, a bedroom, a closet, or a bathroom are normally the place where people start. And I would say start in the room that gives you the most anxiety, that makes you the most overwhelmed. If you can get through that space and get that to where you feel really good about it, it will motivate you to keep on going. Okay.
And do you have any tips on organizing the guest room?
I think with individual rooms, really, I want people to think about function. So if you have a guest room that also needs to, be an office, we have to think about how you're going to reconfigure the space so it makes sense. And so a lot of times, I really ask those questions about what are you using this space for, to make sure the furniture in there makes sense, to make sure the configuration makes sense, and to make sure that we're putting things away in a functional manner. And so different rooms might be different for different people. I tell people, be okay with using a room in an untraditional way. Sometimes when we live in smaller spaces, that's kind of what we have to do.
Okay. And what is the distinction between home organization and interior design?
So there is a little bit of a design aspect, because as we go to functionalize your space and we're putting things back with home organizing and, you know, doing all that stuff, there is a design aspect. We're not coming in here and maybe picking out paint colors and specific type of furniture and accents, but what we are doing is finding the right furniture that works for what you're looking for. And so there definitely is that aspect of the design that makes sense, because some people have a very specific look. Some people like storage that you can't see anything. Some people like certain, you know, like metal, or some people like, I want all white furniture, or whatever that might be. And so there is a design aspect. And so I tell people, as you kind of try to figure out what you want to do with the room, search for those things, screenshot them, save them, because it really kind of helps you kind of have like almost like a vision board for what you want for the space.
Okay, very good. And so for our clients that are preparing, because this is a spring market, which is why I brought you on too, they're preparing to put their home on the market. What tips do you have for them, and do you offer services for?
I do offer services. Moving management is a big part of what we do, and a lot of that is just helping people kind of declutter and purge those things that, one, when you're listing your home, you don't need anymore. You want very clean lines. You want someone to come in and envision themselves in the space, so we kind of help with that. But also it helps with decluttering before you pack and move that to a new home. So I'm a big proponent of doing that before you move, not going to the new home and unpacking everything and then realizing you have a lot of stuff you don't need. So I would just tell people to really start that process as early, one room at a time, get the family involved in it, plan out, you know, a block of time on the weekend or in the evening that you guys can all collectively do together. But if you find yourself being very overwhelmed with that process, that's normal. And that's what sometimes home organizers can really help. And then we can also help figuring out, in my particular business, we kind of can help figure out budget for if you need a mover, or if you need someone to do certain different aspects, we can work with you on that as well.
Very good. And so how do people get in contact with you?
Yes, well, I have a website, and so it's Klean the Clutter with K's, so it's KleanTheClutter.com, and that really lays out on the home page really how I do my process, and it gives you my whole philosophy and what I do. I am on Facebook and Instagram, so on Facebook I'm at Klean the Clutter, and you can, you know, follow me on that end, but my website really kind of covers a very transparent and kind of what I do and why I do what I do. And so you can reach out to me through there to get a consultation, or you can email me or call me directly.
All right. And so definitely reach out to Kristin. She's doing an awesome job. I actually have witnessed some of her work, which has been really good. And so people contact her if you say that the Clark Premier Group is how you heard about it.
Yep, I will give you 10% off. So all you have to do is just contact me. If you're working within a budget, I will work with you. I tell people this is, if you're taking that step to want to do this, then I want to encourage you and I want to be supportive in that, so we can work together.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining Real Talk Thursday.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right.